Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What company has you shocked that they have not yet gone out of business? All those awful kiosks in malls that sell stuff no one honestly needs. Especially those guys that always want to touch your hand, can't stand them. I love those guys, lol. I don't care, it's a sales pitch. That sweet-talking Iranian man can massage my hands and compliment my bad skin as long as once. The look on his face when I tell him I'm way too poor to buy this stuff is part of the fun, too. That furniture store that has had the going out of business sale going on for the last 4 years. That's a whole thing. People will open a store for a year or so and run this kind of going out of business sale and make an absolute killing. Then they'll dip out and someone else will do the same thing right behind them. Actually, I was told it's an asterisk type deal. The furniture line they sell is going out of business. So they are switching lines. Their store isn't going out, but ABC Furniture is, and we are hosting their going out of business sale. Guitar Center, I worked for them for 13 years, they were on the brink of death the whole time. I actually just bought something from them for the first time ever. Lot of workers in the store, like every department had somebody in it. Not that many customers though. My guess is COVID loans saved their ass. On a Wednesday at around 2 p.m., I received a tap at my door from an elderly woman who wanted to show me a Kirby Hoover. Additionally, it appears that door-to-door salespeople will still exist in 2023. It's surprisingly big in B2B sales as well. Cold calling on the phone is almost dead. But if you know how to talk with people in person and aren't afraid of in-person rejection, you can do very well with door-to-door sales. It works with the really old and the really young. Just last week my new coworker, 21, came in saying he'd bought internet from a door-to-door guy despite already having 8 months left on his current contract. One of those indestructible vacuums that seem to be made of cast iron and last 50 years. My mom had the same one basically my entire life. I currently have one of those piece of shit Dysons made with the most brittle, flimsiest plastic known to man. A Kirby sounds appealing. My mill gave me her old one when it became too heavy for her. It's like 25 years old and works 100x better than any plastic piece of crap I've ever owned. There are other good, sturdy brands too that can be affordable, especially if purchased second-hand. My parents bought a used Ricker at a vacuum store and it's amazing. We all have dogs so we compare notes. Lol. AOL's 2022 revenue was $7.4 billion. AOL has 10,350 employees, and the revenue per employee ratio is $714,975 per. Exploding head. Had no idea they were still in business, lol. At work today I was taking a credit card payments and after they have to put in email for a receipt. And her email was at AOL.com and silently thought in my head, WTF. They are in business because of people like my mother. She still pays a monthly fee for AOL. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. It's not much, but still. I try to convince her she doesn't need to do that, but nothing works. So then that begs the question, what are the 10K employees doing? Wells Fargo, why anyone would still trust them with their money baffles me. My dad had control over his mother's finances and one day he noticed a $10,000 withdrawal from her account by the bank. So he called them up to ask what it was about. They proudly declared they'd decided to invest it for her, without asking permission. He demanded they return it immediately. And they declared that they couldn't. It was in the market. They transferred him to their manager who happily explained that it was for grandma's benefit. And that eventually they'd give it all back. So my dad calmly explained that he's a lawyer. And that his firm would be more than happy to give him a paid leave of absence to focus full time on fighting a slam dunk case like this if they didn't have the money back in the account the next day. The money was back in the next day. And by Friday dad had moved the money to a new account at another bank and closed the old one. What in the actual fuck? I work in the investment industry. And the idea of just randomly taking an investor's money right out of their account and investing it for them is completely unfathomable, and you'd be absolutely destroyed in an audit situation if that particular transaction was chosen as a sample. I have a great WF story. They accepted or created a fraudulent credit application using my name. I got a credit alert saying that I had a hard inquiry from WF. So I said, well, that wasn't me. So I called them up and started the process of disputing the hard inquiry on my credit report. I got a letter 3 days or so later saying that they couldn't open the account without me providing further information to verify my identity. 3 days after that I got another letter from WF saying that the inquiry was legitimate and wouldn't be removed. You were a victim. The 2020 DOJ settlement announcement available here. And the related SEC order, which I cannot easily find on mobile due to more recent SEC orders crowding it out of search results, describes the mechanics of how it worked and how the company incentivized misconduct. That was because WF itself initiated the application inquiry. The companies paid huge fines for opening various extra accounts, usually credit cards or loans, in customers' names without their knowledge or approval. I will never let that company near my money ever again. They straight up stole money out of my account, hoping I wouldn't notice. When I did, they gladly refunded me, but how many tens of thousands of people didn't? Wells Fargo isn't a bank, it's a criminal organization. With me, they reorganized the daily charges largest to smallest so they could extract the highest number of NSF fees from my account if I was short. So if I went about my day spending a few bucks here and there, then at the end of the day I made a large purchase, they would rearrange the charge order so the largest charge was processed first. This would mean that I would go from one NSF fee to possibly tens. This was back when I was younger and living paycheck to paycheck.